Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, after a poor showing against the Dolphins, is Father Time finally catching up with Tom Brady? Plus, Rob Ryan joins the show to break down the AFC's vulnerable defenses. And will LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball regret signing professional contracts overseas? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Jay Cutler had one of his best games of his season to lead Miami to a stunning 27-20 win over the Patriots. Cutler finished with 3 touchdown passes, 263 passing yards. It was his first win against the Patriots in 4 tries. Let's take a listen to Cutler after the game.
Winning's always. I mean, that's what keeps you in this game. That locker room after a win, there's nothing like it. Playing right home after a win, it's hard to beat it. You got to be careful with a team like that, like you said. I think the Super Bowl last year is an indication of what they're capable of. And they made it a one-possession game in this one. So, you got to beat these guys to the final whistle.
Speaking of Casual Tuesday.
And you talking about the way I'm dressed?
Well, he's letting the hair out. He's got a
Vanderbilt. That's how they dress at Vanderbilt. Huh?
That's not true.
Shannon, you've been highly critical of Jay in the past. So did last night change your opinion?
Absolutely not. If anything,
shocking.
If anything, it makes you more disappointed because last night he showed you a glimpse of what he could have been. And I'm not saying, because Tom Brady, none of the greats have ever throws for 260 plus yards and 3 touchdowns with no pick every single Sunday. That's not what I'm saying. But we've seen far too many of these games and far too many of the other games where it's a fumble or a costly turnover that ends up costing his team the game. Skip, he showed you what he can do. Arm talent, second to none. You see the play that came in, they had him dead to right. He spins out, rolls to his left, hit Drake, boom. He drops a dime to the guy. He ended up dropping the ball in the fourth quarter. Could have nailed the door shut.
Yep.
So we know what Jay Cutler can do. And because he hasn't fulfilled the promise, Skip, it's hard for me to believe that there's an offensive coordinator or head coach that's come into contact with Jay Cutler since he's been in the NFL says Jay Cutler has maximized his ability. Yep. It's hard for me to believe that you'll find one coach that will say that. And people are like, well, what do you mean? Jay Cutler should have been a multiple-time Pro Bowl player. He should have taken his teams to more than one playoff appearance. He should have done that, Skip. That's how talented he is. And it's so frustrating for you to see what he's capable of last night or something close to that on a regular routine basis, but far too many times it's the pick, the fumble, the apathetical, the blasé-faire attitude. You're like, bruh. I believe there's one person that believes Jay Cutler maximized his ability, and that's Jay Cutler. Because at the end of the day, Skip, he's made $122 million. So no matter what I think or others think, he taps that computer like, oh, shit, I'm good then. Skip, you saw glimpses of what he could have been, and it's disappointing that he didn't meet those expectations. I'm a firm believer in this, and my grandfather used to say, boy, time is the one thing that you can never recapture. And unfortunately, sometimes it's when time is up that we realize what we have left behind. And I think Jay Cutler, as he nears the end, now somebody's going to see this game last night, Joy. Now the Dolphins gave him $10 million. Somebody about to offer him 12, 13 for next year. I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there right now.
Could be right.
I'm just putting that out right now. But I do not believe this does not change. If anything, it makes me more upset. It makes me more frustrated because I know what Jay Cutler could have been, and I don't think he met those expectations.
I had no idea where you were going to go with this off the top of the show, and I liked a lot of your points, and I agree with a lot of your points. Where we part ways is at your bottom line versus my bottom line about this player who is as polarizing a quarterback as I have ever watched and ever covered and ever talked about on television. And again, last night was tough on me because you know how much I love Tom Brady. But I have always liked Jay Cutler. Not loved, just liked. And again, he did go to my school, Vanderbilt, and I did go way out onto the ledge is where I went out. This is back in my days on cold pizza. And I said, this kid at Vanderbilt is going to be a franchise quarterback. And they howled at me. Vanderbilt quarterback he's going to be a first-round pick. Watch. And guess who picked him? A guy you really respect, a guy we had on the show a couple of weeks back, Mike Shanahan. Does he not have some offensive genius about him?
Absolutely.
He does.
Yes.
And he traded up in the first round in the 2006 draft to take Jay Cutler with the 11th pick, one pick after our Matt Leinart here at Fox.
Yes.
Obviously the USC Heisman Trophy winner. One pick after. Vince Young went at the top. I think he's the third overall pick. Yep. And if you look back at that draft, Jay came out the best quarterback in the draft. Kellen Clemens is still afloat. He was a second-round pick. He's still Phillip Rivers' backup in San Diego. Right. But if you look at that draft, and I don't know if it's saying that much, Jay ended up having the best, quote-unquote, career. So here's the problem with Jay Cutler. For long stretches of his career, he has been a pretty good starting franchise quarterback. Occasionally a very good one. But to your point, the occasional bad, has been so spectacularly bad that it obliterates the memories of all the good in most fans' minds, right?
Yes.
So most people would look at Jay Cutler as, when they see the bad, it's all-time bad body language, the shrugging shoulders, the hanging head, the I don't give a you-know-what attitude.
Yes.
And it cancels out all the good that he does accomplish sort of quietly, because everybody focuses on Jay Cutler as the cringing symbol of a loser quarterback, right? It's what the internet thinks of, oh, that's a loser, is Jay Cutler. So I think most fans, and you, view him in the big picture as a pathetic bust of a quarterback.
No, I don't think he's a bust, but I've seen more of the other games than the games you saw last night. There's no way in your mind, Skip Bayless, you're going to tell me you've seen Jay Cutler play more like he played last night as opposed to the flip side.
Okay, let's talk about that. So I'm never saying that he's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, because obviously he's not.
Right.
He can't even have glimpses of those guys. But he has been somewhere in the middle of starting quarterbacks. And I remind you, it's hard to find one of those guys.
Yes.
I don't think Ryan Tannehill is that guy. I've never liked him. I like Jay Cutler more than I like Ryan Tannehill. Now, is that, 6 of one, half dozen of the other?
Right.
But still, Jay Cutler is a decent starting quarterback, and those don't grow on trees. But let's look at what Jay Cutler's done. Monday Night Football is the solo stage in what I think is the greatest sport in America, right?
Yes.
So what has Jay Cutler done on Monday night? A lot of pressure on Monday night, right? You're in the spotlight. You're often head-to-head against a really good quarterback who's perceived to be far better than you are. Jay Cutler is now 12-7 on Monday night. That means 19 times he's played on Monday Night Football. I threw that at you yesterday. You said there's no way he's played that many times going into last night.
You know why he plays that many? Because everybody expects that this is going to be the years of the Bears.
You could be right. But now, Jay Cutler, after last night, has, on Monday Night Football, 32 touchdown passes to only 13 interceptions. Well, if I told you, you'd say that's pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Head-to-head on Monday Night Football, Jay Cutler has beaten, now, Tom Brady last night. He beat Aaron Rodgers. He beat Brett Favre. He beat Michael Vick. He beat Phillip Rivers. On Sunday Night Football, which is still a pretty big stage, he twice beat your man Big Ben Roethlisberger, once in Pittsburgh and once away from Pittsburgh, once at home. It was in Chicago, I think. And if you remember Colin Kaepernick coming off the Super Bowl season, followed by the narrow playoff loss at Seattle in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
After that next season, they opened Levi's Stadium. And Kaepernick and San Francisco went to Dallas and just crushed Tony Romo and company in what was going to be a big year for Dallas when they went 12-4. They crushed them in the opener. They went home for the opening of their stadium. And on Sunday Night Football, Jay Cutler threw 4 touchdown passes to no interceptions and shocked the San Francisco 49ers, led by Colin Kaepernick. Well, that's another quote-unquote signature win on a big night.
But here's the thing, though, Skip, is that you point to individual game performances. You play more games on Sunday than you do Monday. When you factor in his career record, is he above or below 500?
He's 74-76. So now that's a lot of starts to get in the National Football League.
But now we say 500 is even skill, 76-76. So if you're 2 games below, that means you what?
Okay, but how many teams are still looking for a quarterback who could even consider going 500 for that team? It's just hard to find him, which is why he's such a polarizing lightning rod, because is he terrible? No, he's not terrible. Is he great? No, he's not great.
Jay Cutler is what we call he plays just enough to get coaches fired and himself cut or traded. That's what Jay Cutler is. And everybody keeps saying, well, Shannon, look at all the head coaches he had. Look at all the offensive coordinators. You know why? Because he's gotten them fired. Because everybody keeps saying, you're not maximizing Jay Cutler's potential. And everybody comes in, I can fix him. I can get Jay to play at this high level. Cost Mike Shanahan, cost Lovie Smith, cost Tressman. He cost a lot of people their jobs.
Yet, you have to give him some break for having 9 offensive coordinators in 12 seasons.
Why?
That's hard. Well, you can say it's partially because he got the head coach fired. It's also partially because he was in wrong places at wrong times where there was just upheaval at the top of the organization or the team wasn't very good around him.
Everybody, Skip, they went and got Jay Cutler and they tried to build around him. Denver, they tried to build around him. Okay, Josh McDaniel comes in. They didn't hit it off. They trade him. Chicago tried to build around him. Everybody tries to build around him. Okay, if they're building around you, how is it their fault? They went and got Brandon Marshall. You had Greg Olsen. You had Martellus Bennett. You had Matt Forte.
But how many NFL franchises have a quarterback they would even consider building around? That's the problem. These don't grow on trees. It's hard to find one of these
guys. And you should be even more out because there was a guy that the team was willing to build around, and they still couldn't get it done with him.
Okay, but you're coming down harder on him because he had 1 playoff appearance in 12 seasons. He beat Seattle in the first round, and then he had a grade, what would you call it? 1, it's the top grade. Grade 1.
MCL.
MCL
yeah,
or
I think it was MCL.
Knee sprain.
Yes.
And it kept him out of the second half. He tried to go for a series and thought he couldn't go, and he winds up on the bicycle, so he's that cringing symbol of a loser on the bicycle against Aaron Rodgers in a home championship game at Soldier Field to get to the Super Bowl, right?
Took that show on the road. You see he marched through Atlanta.
Yeah.
Marched through Atlanta like Sherman did.
He didn't exactly march through Soldier Field that day because he almost lost to Caleb Haney in the second half, and he was terrible. And he almost threw a pick-6. Remember that to Urlacher?
I almost went to the military, but my brother talked me out of it. I went to Savannah State instead. Here's the thing, though, Skip Bayless. You keep saying is that how many quarterbacks, this should make you even more upset than Skip. Here is a guy. You believe that Jay Cutler should have been a multiple-time Pro Bowl player. You believe that
he did make one. Made one.
Multiple, yes. So, in other words, you're saying he's good making the playoffs just one time if he's as talented, if he's as good as you say he is. That's
they had one other year under Lovie where they went 10-6 and did not make the playoffs, and it was a decent year. It was decent.
Hold on, didn't Matt Castle go 11-5 with the Pats? And you say, well, they didn't make the playoffs. Okay, then. So that's the thing I love about playoffs, Joy. It's kind of like being pregnant. Either you are or you're not. You either in the playoffs or you're not. You're either pregnant or you're not. So Jay Cutler went to the playoffs one time. What about the other time, Skip? Now, he had 12 other chances to get to the playoffs, so what happened then?
He either had too many bad games or they had a bad football team around him.
Skip, think about what they had. They had a top 5 defense for about 6 or 7 years while Jay Cutler was in Chicago. And his defense was like 1 or 2 in scoring defense. And what would always happen, Skip, at the end of the day, instead of him coming in on the white horse to rescue or save the day, he came in on a zebra and ruined the day. What happened, Skip? Look at Urlacher. Look at Briggs. All the Peanut Tillman. All that Pro Bowl talent on the defensive side of football. Tommy Harris. Gone. Alex Smith. Gone. Wally. Agulier.
Yep.
All those guys. All that talent. They give him Brandon Marshall. They give him Martellus Bennett. They give him Greg Olsen. They give him Matt Forte. They get offensive linemen. Skip, you keep telling me. Look what he had in Denver. Look what he had in Chicago. He had talent all around him. They can't say he was devoid of talent.
Is he a great leader? No.
No.
Nope, he's not. Does he really, really care about winning championships? No, I don't think so. Does he have the capability on any given night of beating Tom Brady? Yep, he does. Or Aaron Rodgers, or Michael Vick, or Brett Favre? Yep. I can keep going down the line.
And you know what, Skip? And all the head coaches that's been fired at the hands of Jay Cutler and all the offensive coordinators, that's what makes them so upset. Because he can beat Tom Brady on a given night. Because he can beat Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and Ben Roethlisberger and Michael Vick and Colin Kaepernick at his height. That's what's so disappointing.
So Jay Cutler in his career has now thrown 226 touchdown passes, which ranks 30th all time, which is pretty good. There have been a lot of quarterbacks come and go. He's 30th all time, and he's ahead of Kurt Warner in touchdown passes, Joe Namath and Troy Aikman and Terry Bradshaw. He's ahead of those guys in touchdown passes because he has supreme arm talent. I also think he has a high football IQ. You have compared him, I can't remember if it's you or Rob Parker, but compared him to Jeff George. Jeff George was rock-headed to me. He just saw and fired. You know, like I see a glimpse of color that's my jersey color, I'm going to fire it in that direction.
Yeah.
Cutler has a high IQ. Ask any of the coaches who have coached him.
Yes.
He can chalkboard it.
Even more reason I'm upset.
All right.
Because he went to Vanderbilt. He has IQ. He has legs. He can run. He's very athletic. Supreme arm talent. Can throw the ball 70, 80 yards. Now, what has that gotten me, Skip? It's gotten me a guy that's under 500 for a lifetime record. It's gotten me a guy that's been to the playoff one time. How can I excuse that?
He is a rambling gambler. He was from the start. And he can run with the ball. I know Gruden criticized him last night. He had one play in which he looked like he could have run for the first down.
He could run for the first down. He threw it, yes.
Okay. All right. But he's an older quarterback, and I think he's learned, I can't try that anymore. You saw what happened to Carson Wentz. It doesn't pay long-term to keep trying to run for first downs.
Right.
And he has learned that because the other thing about Jay Cutler is he's a tough guy. You look at the years that he led the NFL in sacks taken.
Yeah.
He got the you-know-what kicked out of him in Chicago a couple of times, and you never heard one word about he's weak or soft or can't take the beating. Nope, he'll take it. He'll keep on jumping right up and throwing.
For the better part of his career, he was paid as a franchise quarterback, and he did not meet those expectations. That's it. And if you saw him last night, you're very disappointed because you see what he could have been. He offered you a glimpse of what should have been. But at the end of the day, Skip, you've covered this as long as you've covered sports. There's always, be it basketball, baseball, football, whatever it is, there's always that one guy. Say, man, if he'd have just got it, he was so special. He could have really been.
But usually that guy lasted 1 or 2 years, and this guy is in his 12th year, and you're predicting year 13. Right?
Because you know
what?
what?
And I assume he has a job here at Fox waiting for him if he wants to take it. I don't know that for a fact.
We've seen these NFL teams pull guys out that have been retired for 5 years. You don't think they were going to pull Jay Cutler out of retirement after 6 months? And guess what? They'll pull more guys. Because when you look at him, I mean, he's 6'3", 220 pounds. He got, he found out he had type 2 diabetes. He got that under control, so he got his body under control. You look at him, you're like, wow, there's nothing he can't do. He can throw on the move. He can throw from the pocket. As you mentioned, he's tough, but he left you wanting so much more, Skip. And that's what's sad about Jay Cutler's career.
Okay, so if you, like the Denver Broncos right now, what's the big problem? You got 3 quarterbacks and you have none.
No.
Right? You don't like any of them.
They have 3 guys that play the quarterback position.
That is correct. And I can show you, we don't have time to go into it, I can show you 5 or 6 other teams. They just don't have a quarterback.
No.
They got a football team, but they don't have a quarterback.
Correct.
So it's hard to find even a Jay Cutler for all of his flaws, all of his negatives, all the perceived loser's mentality. Man, he can still play quarterback at a really high level.
But here's the thing, Skip. Do you want to win games or you want to win championships? Because Jay Cutler can win you a few games. You're not winning a championship with him. Now, the Broncos, there are certain teams, the Steelers and all these, they're like 10, 12 teams that they don't go into the season hoping to win 8 games. They go into the season trying to have Commissioner Goodell hand them that Lombardi. That's what they go in. I don't believe Jay Cutler. I've seen enough tape. I've seen enough games. I just don't believe Jay Cutler can deliver that. Can he deliver you a few wins? Absolutely. Can he show you signs throwing for 300?
The problem with your theory is there are only 5 top 5 quarterbacks, right? No. There aren't 10 top 5 quarterbacks. There are 5.
But I still believe that Andrew Luck, given the right supporting cast, can take a team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that, except I can show you that Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl, and you won with Trent Dilfer.
That was a different era, Skip. They don't allow you to play the rules like that. You could knock people out of the game. You could injure someone's quarterback. You could get really, really physical with receivers and tight ends. They don't allow that type of football now. Now, moving forward, if you look at it, you have to have that guy. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that wins a Super Bowl moving forward would go to the Hall of Fame, but you're going to need that guy to make the 1 to 2 throws, especially in an impact moment that's going to win you the game. Now, they could have iced this game. Remember, he was on the move, and he threw the ball, and the guy rolling to his right, and he threw it behind him. The game could have been over there. Those are the type of games that once you get into the playoffs or even as you first round, second round, championship, Super Bowl, those are the plays that will lose you a game as opposed to winning it for you.
Okay, but he threw that deep ball to that Texas Tech kid, that Grant kid. He hit him right on the fingertips. And that's, as John Gruden immediately said, dagger, right? Yeah. There's the dagger throw. So he made it on Monday Night Football. And it was it was the best throw of the whole game by either quarterback.
You see what I'm saying, Joey? Now he just keep giving me more ammunition. I know what Jay Cutler can do. Drop the dime from 55 yards. Because they tell you to throw the ball. Skip, when Mike used to tell John, I wanted 42 and 4. 42 yards deep, 4 yards from the sideline. Jay Cutler dropped it down perfect, like he dropped it out of a chimney.
He did.
You know, Santa Claus was right around the corner. He coming down the chimney. That's how Jay Cutler dropped it down, and he dropped it. Makes me upset because I know he can do that, but I haven't seen enough of that. I've seen more of the pick sixes going the other way, the scoop and scoop, the ball coming out.
Well,
sorry, Skip.
Not last night. Last night he was
Joy, we got him, did we, Joy?
Last night he was big play Jay.
Joy, we got him, did we, Joy?
You like it?
We got him, Joy.
Not who?
Oh, Dolphins. I was the Dolphins last night.
Oh, now you're with the Dolphins. I can't keep track.
I'm back. Who
y'all play? Who
y'all play next week? I'm with that team.
No mercy. Last night, Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions in a game for the first time in over 2 years. We're joined by Professor Rob Parker.
What's happening? Good morning.
Wow.
Professor.
Professor.
Yes,
You know
USC
what?
Professor Rob Parker.
Online college.
Would you stop? Skip, I just want to start something really quickly and say, you and Ernestine are off the hook. We normally exchange Christmas gifts. I got my early Christmas present last night, so you guys don't have to get me anything.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Rob,
that was really funny, Rob.
You cannot make it through your joke without laughing first. You should tell. All right, was last night a sign of things to come for Tom Brady?
Absolutely. You saw the 40-year-old Tom Brady. I'm not one to sound the alarm, but sound the alarm, Shannon. Yeah. The beginning of the end. You see those underthrown balls last night? Mm-hmm. He looked like a 40-year-old who was harassed and bothered, and they got to him. Mm-hmm. And this is what people keep forgetting with Tom Brady. They think he's going to play another 5 years and all this. When it comes to a crashing end, it does. We saw this Tom Brady last year for 3 quarters in the Super Bowl. Remember that? Mm-hmm. How bad he looked? Yeah. And then, of course, the Falcons, your team, just rolled over for Tom Brady.
I just happen to live in Atlanta.
That's
not my
your team. But Tom Brady last night looked very ordinary. And this is what I think if you're a Patriots fan, you're going to say to yourself, do we have a quarterback for the future? I know everybody will just poo-poo it. They normally don't play well in Miami. They'll come up with some excuses. He didn't have Gronk and all this other stuff. This will be it.
What did you say last year? No Gronk, no hardware, right? And he didn't have Gronk for the last 8 games, and there was big hardware at the end. Right?
Well, that was, okay. I missed that one. Okay. But normally, I'm on it.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, I saw Tom Brady. And this is the Tom Brady that we're going to see. Beginning of the end. Yeah. Just remember the underthrown balls. Remember, he won the game the week before, but he was yelling at the coaches. This is frustration when you're 40 years old and things aren't going your way.
Go ahead, Skip.
So, my friend Rob Parker, the last time he was on this show, he told me that my guy Dak Prescott was a right-handed Tim Tebow. Remember that? After 3 straight collapses by the Cowboys with no Sean Lee on defense and no Ezekiel.
That was a good lie.
Well, it doesn't work anymore because he bounced back with, over the last 2 games, he's 5 touchdown passes to 0 interceptions. So maybe he's been a little better than Tim Tebow?
You're right. Tim Tebow won his first playoff game.
That's right.
Well, then.
You sure you want that on the record?
Yeah, you just made my Tebow case. Thank you for saying
that.
I
appreciate that.
What happened?
Yeah. So, Rob Parker, to the point that you swept under the carpet, Tom Brady is now 7-9 at Dolphins in his career, and he's lost 4 of the last 5, and they always have a hard time in December in Miami. I don't know why. Maybe it's the weather. It was kind of cool last night, they said.
Sean Lee?
Yeah, maybe it was Sean Lee's fault. By the way, Sean Lee did come back and have 18 tackles, and they won the second half.
Are we talking about
nothing?
I
just got to refute his point.
Over 2-10 team now. Let's not gloss that away either.
Tom Brady, I will remind you, going back to 2014 in October, had a debacle of a game on Monday Night Football at Kansas City, and all the ESPN analysts stood on the field after the game and shrugged and wrung their hands, and they said, it's over for the Patriots dynasty. And Bill Belichick said, we're on to Cincinnati, and they destroyed Cincinnati, and they were on to the Super Bowl, and they won the Super Bowl. So what has happened is that Tom Brady had a bad game like every other human quarterback has a bad game.
What was his quarterback rating?
It was 35 QBR.
QBR?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
That's
had
bad.
Carson Wentz. He's had 3 games worse than Carson Wentz's worst.
But going into last night, Tom Brady was clearly the MVP frontrunner. Clearly he was.
Is he still now after that performance?
No, but he has a chance to right that wrong because Sunday he gets the chance of the year. He is at Pittsburgh, and I will bet you that this Sunday he will right the wrong of last night. And they're on a short week. They got to fly to Foxborough and fly to Pittsburgh. They don't have time to prepare.
Rob.
He's 10-2 lifetime against the Steelers, 5-2 at Pittsburgh. I think I'll take Tom Brady.
Rob,
Got it.
Rob,
Steak.
Thank
What do
you.
you want to do?
I'll
or a
bet
steak
you
dinner?
I'll bet you the Christmas dinner that we're already going to give to you.
Is that right?
so you might not be coming. So Rob, if you don't mind me asking.
Yes.
So you saw last night and you saw Sunday, but moving forward for the next, say, like 3 weeks, you couldn't see anything. What is your last memory of Carson walking to him Wentz? And what's your last memory of Tom 40-year-old Brady? The last thing that you saw from those 2 players.
I saw once in a lifetime being unbelievable. Is that yours? Because I used that. Who came up with
No!
Can I answer?
No! You got your
Was
turn.
that yours?
Question.
No.
What?
It's Rob
Oh,
Flo.
that was
No.
mine.
Is that yours? Once in a lifetime? Okay.
Mine's fumble it to him, wins.
No.
Go ahead.
All I'm saying is.
Wait, I got to answer.
Go ahead.
The last thing I remember of Carson Wentz was, now he was on a torn ACL at this point, but he looked to the right to throw it to Trey Burton, and he pulled it back down, and he looked to the left, and he thought, I see Aguilar. And his knee's sort of stationary because it's hurting him.
Yeah.
And he throws across his body, and he's throwing it for Aguilar, and he misses Aguilar because he throws behind him, and Jeffrey just picks it right up off the grass. It was behind Jeffrey.
He meant to throw it to him.
He did not. He did
threw
not
it
meant
to
to.
him.
So that's my lasting memory of Carson Wentz's season.
This is what I know. See,
just like everything else, it was the luckiest pass he threw all day.
what I saw is a guy that goes on the road with his team that's playing a team that's number 1 in the division. Now, they're not fighting to try to get into the playoffs. They're trying to get one of those top 2 seeds in the playoffs. And I saw him go on the road. This is a team that walked the dog against the Cowboys. Jared Goff had 3 tubs, over 300 yards.
Was Sean Lee there?
Whoa, Skip, I'm talking to Rob.
24-13 at halftime.
What was the final score?
35-30.
A whole lot to a few.
Yeah.
But anyway, walking to him wins. 33 tubs, 7 INTs, number 2 in QBR. Can your guys catch my guy?
Unfortunately,
Maybe.
there's 3 more games left.
Okay.
Yep.
Joe Montana in 1989 missed 3 games and won the MVP. John Elway missed a couple of games in 87 and won the MVP. Do you mind?
Who is this?
And if
person
Brady
going
has
against
another
him?
stinker in Pittsburgh, which
Well,
I think he'll have, if he has a stinker
you
in
better
Pittsburgh.
hope that he does.
I don't have to hope.
Nobody
I
hope
saw
anything,
Tom Brady.
Skip.
Christmas dinner.
He's
rides.
40. Skip.
What am I going to have? I'm not going to eat if I go over to your house
Yeah,
if they
you just
win?
can't eat.
I
You
can't
have to
eat?
sit.
Rob, he's 40. There's a reason why Tom Brady is missing Wednesday and Thursday practices. His body, he's 40, Skip
It's not an
Bayless.
Achilles issue.
He got an old man issue.
Yeah. Old man. Has he looked like an old man?
Yeah,
Do
he
you
looked like an old
realize
man last
how
night.
do you realize how he carried that defense through the first 5 or 6 games of the year?
They've been carrying him his whole career.
Oh, really? Carried him? Yeah, maybe they carried him his first
Carried the whole
year.
career.
Take that back.
Nope.
That's just
Nope.
ridiculous.
It's Coach Belichick and the defense. Because we know what happens when he gives up 30 points in the playoff, Skip? How many games have they won when Tom Brady give up 30 points on the defense?
Like none, right?
Wait.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's won 5 Super Bowls, and he should have won 6. And wait a second, the last 2 Super Bowls, he played the greatest fourth quarters that have ever been played in the Super Bowl.
But could he have lost those? Could he have
He
lost
could've
those?
lost-
Yes or
he could've lost
no?
just about every single Super Bowl
open
he's
your
been in.
restaurant. Open your restaurant. What are you selling? What are
Doug,
you selling? Hot dogs.
Hold on.
He's got hot dogs.
on.
He's got 5 of them.
Hold on. But you can't say
Wow.
he won 5 and should have won 6.
Yes, he should have.
Oh,
you know
what-
he should have.
Which one are you saying he should have won?
The lucky Eli first Super Bowl when it stuck in Tyree's
Well, he
face
should-
mask.
well-
that was the luckiest play.
Well, Pete
Eli
Carroll-
admitted
They
it.
sent Pete Carroll a ring.
Right.
They
Pete
see
Carroll
Pete
got a
Carroll.
That
ring.
wasn't luck.
Yes, it was.
That was the greatest
How
break
about,
on
how
the
about
ball.
when
I've ever
Carolina
seen.
kicked the ball?
Out of the
Casey
end zone.
kicked the ball out of bounds.
No, it was out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
Yeah,
Don't you remember that?
Remember that?
That set up
Skip,
Adam
Skip, stop
Vinatieri.
shaking your head. You remember
You
it.
remember that? And it set up Adam Vinatieri for the game-winning field goal.
He up here on the TV like Coach Belichick. He come up there shaking his head like he don't know.
They
You know
recovered
exactly
it?
what we talking
They
about.
recovered it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Did Tom Brady not put the – he drove them – I think he converted 3 third downs to set up the last field goal against Carolina, the second Super Bowl?
What about that lucky catch that Edelman has? You talk about Wentz through one.
Did that change the
Yes.
game? Did that
Yes.
save the game? Or
Yes.
was that the winning
the guy,
play of the
Skip,
game?
Alfred dropped the interception.
And Edelman caught it.
Oh, please.
That would have changed the game.
He was sensational both in the fourth quarter and in overtime. Was he not just flawless?
Skip, he
Come
won
on.
the game. I'm not. But my guy walking number 11.
Are you trying to put Carson Wentz in the same sentence
In,
with Tom Brady?
in 2017, absolutely.
Well, how-
He ain't in the head. Okay, Carson Wentz belongs first in the sentence. Then whatever you want to say, because he ain't ahead of
We're
Carson.
talking about this year, it's not a Lifetime Achievement Award. Stop
He'll
that.
get that.
Okay, not
We talking about this year.
okay. So you say he's done. Tom Brady's done.
It's the
after
beginning
last
of the
night.
end.
Okay, what do you think is going to happen the rest of the year? Are they done? They're going to miss the playoffs?
No, they'll make the playoffs,
And then what'll
because they
happen?
play in the AFC least. So they'll make the playoffs, and then they'll play a real team in the playoffs, and then they'll lose to Pittsburgh or something, and that'll
So
be it.
are you off New England's bandwagon because you picked them to get to the Super Bowl
Skip, the
They'll
question
lose
was
to Pittsburgh or something?
Yeah.
or something?
Jacksonville.
Or Jacksonville. Don't poo-poo Jacksonville.
He doesn't poo-poo them.
They got defense, Shannon, right? They play defense. They
You
can
got
win.
another hope against Tom Brady.
You even on
Skip.
board.
I am not on board. with
Wait, I got to
Jacksonville.
hear this. Are you off the New England bandwagon?
Skip, the
You
question was-
picked them to win the AFC before the year started.
Tom Brady is 40, and there were signs of the game last night that he looked 40.
He just had a bad game. That kid from Baylor, you said he had a sensational game.
But here's the thing, but when he has a good game, you talk about he's 40. He shouldn't be playing this way. He has a bad game, you say, well, he had a bad game. Which is it, Skip? He's 40
Did you
either
see
way.
him at New Orleans when they looked like they were teetering? Did
I saw
you see
him.
what
I
he
saw
did
him
against Drew Brees?
I saw him opening night, too, against Alex Smith.
Terrible.
I saw him against Cam Newton also.
I thought he was pretty good against
Oh,
him.
I saw him against Jay Cutler.
Did you see him throw the walk-off against Deshaun Watson? Remember that? Walk-off.
I saw what he walked off last night, 0 for 11 on third down. Hadn't been done since 1991 in New England.
Well, guess what? 3 games to go, and one's at Pittsburgh this Sunday.
What don't you do?
I like it.
Walking
I
to
like
him, say,
it.
I'm in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Walking to him, say, I got the lead in touchdown, and I'm second in QBR. Come catch him if you can.
And I got
Remember that
some-
movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can? Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, but he was playing a fake, he's like a fake,
Don't do that.
fake pilot, so are you saying
Yeah.
that Carson Wentz is like fake?
No, he real.
Yeah.
Well, okay, put it like this here. He Jack. Jack got 18 majors. He in the clubhouse. Everybody, y'all come get this 18. Carson said, I got 33 and second in QBR. Come get me. I'm busy right now.
He's in his second year.
Ain't gonna be
He
the
had a
MVP.
nice year, but he
He
started
was gonna
off
be the
Nice year.
runaway.
He's had a very good
He had
year.
a-
He's
he had a
an
very good
MVP.
year.
first year.
MVP
He was about to be the
Disappointing he's not gonna
runaway
get to finish it.
MVP.
Was
Now
about
it's gonna be close. He's still winning.
No mercy. Jay Cutler and the Dolphins spoiled the Patriots' chances to clinch the AFC East last night. Cutler threw 3 touchdown passes, and Kenyon Drake ran for nearly 200 total yards. The Patriots' offense struggled all night and did not convert a third down for the first time in a game since 1991. Afterwards, Tom Brady said, quote, "We can't get any worse than that." We're joined by former NFL defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. Welcome back,
Hey,
Rob.
welcome back.
Good to have you.
Good to be back.
What was your takeaway from that game?
Whew, they were brutal, weren't they? I mean, I've seen some bad games by New England before, not very often, but wow, they got their tails kicked. I mean, offensively, just brutal. And the matchup for Miami is strange because you have to put so much protection to Sue, who's such a great player, but Jordan Phillips, that big defensive tackle from Oklahoma, who nobody recommended from the school, now look at him tearing everybody up. He just killed that Joe Tooney. The protection goes to Sue. Now it's one-on-one. They can't do anything about it. They couldn't get him blocked all night. And then nobody could win one-on-one on the outside against the corners for the Dolphins. They did a great job. They're playing one hole, bringing the safety down in the middle, and they 0 for 11, I guess, on third down. It was crazy.
And that's what you see with the Patriots, and this is how you have to attack them. It starts with the middle. Because if you run around the edges, Tom wants to step up into the pocket and throw the ball.
Sure.
But you got Wake, so you got to block him. You got to chip. They chip Wake every time on the way out. They either had a back or a tight end chipping on his way out. Mm-hmm. So now Wake is still getting around the edge and is forcing Tom to step up into Sue, into Phillips, and that's the way you have to attack him. But Skip, when you look at this, and Rob, this puts even more pressure on Pittsburgh because you got way more talent than Miami on offense. And they hung 27 on them. So what should Pittsburgh? That puts a lot of pressure on Ben. They're like, hold on. Kenyon Drake just went for $120. Le'Veon.
Right.
The back, Antonio Brown. You see what that little wide receiver did to Malcolm Butler? You just came off 213, receiving game. You need to put some points on the board. That puts a lot of pressure. Brady's not going to be 0 for 11 again. That doesn't happen. All-time great players rarely, if ever, go 0 for 11 in a ball game. Brady's too good. Do you think you're going to see, if the Pittsburgh Steelers think for 1 second they're going to see that team from Monday night show up on Sunday at 4:25, they're in for a rude awakening.
Thank you. Agreed.
But there are some things that the Steelers can take away. I just don't know if the Steelers have the personnel defensively to take advantage of it like Miami did.
Agreed. So, was this a bad sign for the New England Patriots to lose this badly this late in the year? You better believe it was. It's just never good to try to start to elevate toward the playoffs and to lose a game like that. But it's happened to this team before repeatedly at that place. Tom Brady has now lost 4 of his last 5 games at Dolphins. Mm-hmm. He's 7-9 at Dolphins. They just have a hard time, and I think the Dolphins are a bad matchup even now for what's left of New England. And remember, on defense last night, they did not have Trey Flowers, who's their sack leader, and they did not have Kyle Van Noy. And again, Belichick just finds these guys from nowhere, but he had been their most active and best linebacker. Their best player, really, has been Kyle Van Noy. So they're gone last night. Dante Hightower has been gone for the year. Mm-hmm. Man, you're just doing it with a lot of mirrors. I mean, Gilmore you love Gilmore and he started to figure it out.
Man cover guy,
he got beaten a couple times last night, but Malcolm Butler's been hit and miss all year, the secondary. But the point is that you have to remember, Joe Flacco just scored 38 points at Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco did.
And they ran the ball.
Ran the ball like crazy. That Alex Collins is pretty good.
But the Patriots, Skip, the thing is because they have Brady, the Patriots will give up on the running game quick. And if you saw Baltimore stuck with it. A lot of teams stick with the running game because not only what that does is it keeps Tom Brady on the sideline. Mm-hmm. So, but the Patriots, they're like, Tom, we can't run today. You need to throw it 50 times. And he's capable of doing it. So, Steelers, you better be on your best behavior because he saw what Joe Flacco did to you. Now, I would like to think, and even though, the Baltimore got some nice offensive talent, I still, even with Gronk coming back, I believe the offensive talent at the skill position for New England is better than what Baltimore had on Sunday night.
Oh, there's no question. I think New England comes in this game, they're embarrassed, but offensively they're going to be all over Pittsburgh.
Yes.
They're without Shazier. That makes a big difference.
Joe Hayden.
Yeah, they're going to be all over these guys. The difference is their defense, like you brought up, without Van Noy, without Flowers, they got a kid, some walk-on they always pick up late in the season, and he was playing great. Well, he got absolutely exposed last night, the Eric Lee kid.
Yep.
On the edge where Drake starts to the left, goes back to the right, and there's no edge player. He's supposed to set the edge.
Buffalo?
Yeah, he was at Buffalo on the scout, not when we were there.
He was Texans. He was the Texans first. Remember, they did Hard Knocks, and they showed on him a lot.
Yeah.
And then he ended up Buffalo.
Kind of a stiff kid, got exposed in space. Look, he's had a couple great games. You can only do so much. I mean, the rocket scientist over there was doing great, hiding this kid. He's doing good, but he got exposed. And look, you have to play a 7-man front against Ben and the Steelers, and that's going to put more pressure on those edges. And the edge of the defense, like you say, they go 3 deep, and they still go 4 deep now to pick this starter up. Well, that's going to be a problem with Le'Veon Bell, like you said, Shannon. And I just see this going to be an absolute track meet. Look, as bad as the Patriots have done in Miami, they're pretty good in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
They won a lot of games. I was there. We won the championship there. So I think though this is going to shake the whole team up to the core, and they're going to come out with their best stuff
and
going.
Remember, Tom Brady is 10-2 lifetime against Pittsburgh, and he's 5-2 lifetime at Pittsburgh. Which is pretty good.
Right. They just got to get their edge situation, handled. And
when you're undermanned defensively, Rob, you know this. You have to be sound.
Oh, yeah.
If your job is to hold the edge backside, don't get nosy, like I'm going to make this play over here. Because what happens was what Drake did last night. He comes all the way backside, and you happen to get in the beak when you should have been outside, and all of a sudden you take one step down, now he's to the edge. Coach Belichick looking like, when you play teams like Pittsburgh, you play teams like, if your gap is A, you get in the A. If it's B, be in the B. If you're supposed to be playing cover 2, play cover 2. Don't be guessing. Don't be freelancing. Freelance gets you exposed, and, coach looking at you like, get you over here.
Right. With Bell, as patient of a runner as he is, you better be gap.
Yes.
And with the 7-man front that you're going to have to play, you better be. And it starts with the edge. And Belichick's favorite line, no edge, no chance. Well, they had no edge last night. That's what it looked like to me. And, they're going to have to do, it starts with a lockout and getting in good position. And this kid was catching all night, and it's just they're going to have to do something quick.
It takes a special type of player to play defensive football for Coach Belichick, because what does edge guys want to do? They want to pick a side. Coach Belichick makes you play right down the middle. You right here. And Chris Long had a good season for him, but he said he thanked him. He says, but I need to go be a D lineman. D linemen like playing on the edges. Linebackers like playing on the edges. They don't like, get skinny. Well, if I get skinny, that means I can't be skinny. I got to be big, which is right down the middle. And that's what Coach Belichick wants. Right here. I'm going to stay right. Okay, you go right there, I'll make the play. You go right here, I'll make the play. But if you get on the edge, Coach Belichick believes you're out of position. And you can't play in that defense like that.
Well, that's right. Like your kid's wearing 55, and everybody thinks about the should-be Hall of Famer Willie McGinnis. I mean, his arms could reach out here to the floor, bam, and set that edge two-gap all day long. Mike Vrabel. I mean, that's the guys they ideally want. But
started
right
with
now,
LT
when you keep
and Banks.
Yeah, when you keep how'd you like to go against those guys? But when you go all the way down the list and you're picking guys up off the streets, those are qualities that are hard to find.
Yes.
And, right now they're kind of getting exposed. They don't have those type of qualities. Right. Now Van Noy, he can play inside or outside. He's been doing a good job, but they're going to have to do something to set that edge on Bell, or it's going to be a long day.
All I know is that it was earlier in the year, but in 2014 at Kansas City on a Monday night, they got destroyed. The New England Patriots, and on ESPN afterwards, everybody was saying, that's it, it's over for the dynasty. Bill didn't surround Tom with enough talent. This is the end of Tom Brady as we knew and loved him. And all Belichick said all week was, we're on to Cincinnati, the famous or infamous line to the media. And were they not on to Cincinnati? They destroyed Cincinnati, and they were off to the Super Bowl races and wound up beating Seattle by hook or crook at the end of the game in Seattle. Against Seattle in the Super Bowl.
In Arizona,
Yeah, in Arizona. So the point is, they won't just show up in Pittsburgh. I think last night will make it better for them at Pittsburgh.
Sometimes it's all about matchups. Sometimes it's just about matchups. If you look at it, New England just matches up well against Pittsburgh. They don't match up well against Kansas City. No. And I'm going to tell you another team that will cause them problems, the Jags. Because they got two big studs inside, Malik Jackson and Calais Campbell. And they still have Fowler and the, can't pronounce his name, on the edge who has a bunch of sacks. Yep. They might have four guys because Calais got 12 and a half, and the other DN got 11 and a half. You got Malik Jackson got 7 and a half. You got Fowler got 6. They can collapse the pocket from the inside, and they can get pressure. Now, they got two studs on the edge, the corners, Ramsey and Boyer. Now, if it's me, I'm taking Jalen Ramsey, and I'm putting him on Gronk one-on-one because he's a big physical corner, and I'm taking Boyer, and I'm putting him on Cook. I'm saying, okay, come play ball. Okay, well, to your point, if New England does lose at Pittsburgh, they fall to the 3 seed, and Jacksonville would be the 2 seed. That's a matchup. That's a matchup. If you look at Jacksonville, Rob, I don't know what you think. They look like a young, up-and-coming Seattle Seahawks. Oh, no question. That's how they're built. Yep. Okay, except there's no Russell Wilson. Yeah, I said Blake Bortles. Pretty good. Yeah, but on the defensive side. No mercy. The Steelers beat the Ravens 39-38 on Sunday to lock up the AFC North. Pittsburgh's offense was unstoppable, but on the defensive side, the 38 points was the most allowed in a game this season. They now face the Patriots in a huge game on Sunday with first place in the AFC on the line.
New England gave up 3 touchdown passes to Jay Cutler last night and have the 29th ranked defense in the NFL. We're joined once again by Rob Ryan. Rob, which defense do you trust more right now, Pittsburgh or New England's?
I'll go with New England just because of Belichick and Patricia. They're going to come up with a good plan. It's tough to play against Pittsburgh's offense, but they're going to make them go the long, hard way. And one thing they've done in Pittsburgh, every once in a while, they'll have penalties on that offense that kill drives. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes Ben will get impatient, force a ball. And New England's always been, opportunistic. They can pick off passes, and that's how they usually beat them.
Yep.
The big concerning thing is the edge play of New England. With losing those players like you brought up, Skip. Mm-hmm. This Lee kid, they're brought him out. Special team guy, bring him off a practice squad, but he's getting exposed now. The third game that he's played in, and nobody's going to test that edge like the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Right, like my God. That's going to be scary. So, but I think they got to figure out a way to get that done. I think they'll take Brown away. We all know that. But that big tight end's a problem. They have to do a good job on him. So, but I'll go with him because when you take Shazier, he's one of those, dare I say it, Sean Lee type, where he could impact the game as a middle linebacker. Or I'll say Luke Kuechly. Yeah. That's better for you. But sometimes that middle linebacker can be the centerpiece of a defense, and it looks like Shazier's that type of guy for Pittsburgh.
But obviously Sean Lee is better than Luke Kuechly, right?
I coached him, so I'll favor him. Rob, I love the players that I coach.
Oh.
Rob,
Willie McGinnis.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
I haven't seen enough film on Kuechly.
But Sean Lee is a freak.
Sean Lee is a good player.
No question.
But you know what? I'm starting to believe now that only the Great Recession that started in December of 27 have impacted more people than Sean Lee. Sean Lee, he's responsible for that loss last night. There's a lot that's going on that Sean Lee is very true.
He affects a lot of things.
Yeah. Ridicule.
I know one thing. Dallas can't play defense without him.
That is correct.
That's the fact.
It's as simple as the record screams. With Sean Lee, they're really good. Without him, let's see, they're 6-1 with him, 1-5 without him. I don't know.
Check Carolina's defense once Kuechly got that concussion last year and see what they look like. Yep. Let's see. Okay, who do I trust more? Who do I trust more, the Steelers D or the Patriots defense? Let me see. Rob, would you rather get run over by a Mack truck or a dump truck?
I think that would hurt.
The outcome is equally as bad.
I think it's going to be
But given the sort of circumstances and what I've been dealing with and knowing his background, I'm going to lean slightly towards the Patriots for the simple fact of Coach Belichick. I just believe that he will find a way. And what he normally does with a team like this, with the Steelers, he'll make you go, as Rob said, the long way. You're going to dink and dunk your way down the field. And he believes that if you have to go 13, 14 plays to get the ball into the end zone, you will get impatient and you will take a chance, and his defense will seize that moment. The Steelers, too many the clutching, the grabbing, the blown assignments. Skip, you just can't play like that. I mean, I saw Brett Hundley have the Steelers on the ropes.
He did. Yep. You saw Joe Flacco have him on the ropes.
He did. And this game is of the utmost importance. As you mentioned, they lose this game. The Steelers have home field. Jacksonville slides into the two slot. Now, Tom Brady has played 20 playoff games at home. He's 17-3. He's 3-4 on the road. That ain't good, is Skip. That ain't good. So he's lost his last 3 road playoff games. Hadn't won one since 2005, Skip.
So he's a bust? What well, I'm serious. You talk about him like he's a dog.
I'm saying how important home field is to them because the last 3 playoff games that they've been on the road, this team, Coach Belichick as head coach, Tom Brady as the quarterback, they've lost. That's not bust. That's not anything. So home field is very important. I believe the Patriots will put forth their best effort. I lean slightly towards the Patriots, given that they have Coach Belichick.
Yeah, Tom Brady is 5-2 on a neutral field in the game that really matters, the Super Bowl, right? So away from Foxborough, he's won 5 times in the championship game. Well, you just said he's a product of Foxborough.
No, Skip.
Those are neutral field games.
Skip. I'm saying that in order to get to that neutral site, be it Miami, be it Arizona or Houston, he likes to go the route where he plays the games at home. He's 17-3 in 20 playoff games, Skip. Doesn't that, I mean, bruh.
So I do agree with half of what you guys said. It's about Bill Belichick, but it's also about Mike Tomlin. And I am a big Mike Tomlin fan. I've said this many times. If I could play in the NFL, I would want to play for that guy. I just like him. I like his style. I like how he does speak to the media. He's a big post-game talker.
Matter of fact.
He's eloquent and forthcoming. And it's fun to listen to him. And I think those guys really enjoy playing for him. But his forte is supposed to be the defensive side of the football. And I don't see it. And I haven't seen it for a while with them, because they have become bombs away. Their MO this whole year has been, let's just kind of hang in there. We'll hang in there. And then at the end, Ben will throw it to Antonio a couple times and we'll walk off with a field goal. They've done it, 4 times?
Yep.
I don't love it because I don't love the way they try to play New England. And remember, Antonio put his coach, unfortunately, on Facebook Live at the end of after the Kansas City win up there, the 18-16?
Yep.
And he's saying those blah, blah, blahs, they got a head start on us.
Yep.
Well, guess what? Pittsburgh just got a head start on New England, because you know full well how hard it is to fly last night home after getting your butts kicked, and on a short week get ready to travel on Saturday to Pittsburgh to play what could be a physical game, although it doesn't. I don't know. The Steelers don't really play that physical on defense.
Skip, these are not your mom and pops and grandparents Steelers. This is not Joe Green and Mel Blount and Jack Lambert. Since Ben Roethlisberger has become Big Ben as we know him, they've moved to that side of the football. So now you have a Le'Veon Bell. Now you have Antonio Brown. You see the weapons that they try to surround him with. Now, they did go out and draft T.J. Watt in the first round this year, an outside linebacker. But this is an offensive-based football team.
It is.
And normally when you have elite quarterbacks, you spend the most of the money on that because you want him to be great. Aaron Rodgers, that's an offensive-based football team.
Ben Roethlisberger threw 66 passes the other night.
Yeah.
66? Yeah. And completed, 44?
He put 44, I think. 506 yards.
Career highs both ways? Well, good. Do that. Do that against New England, because they will confuse you more than Brady will be confused by. It seems like Tomlin and company, they just come out and try to play zones, and he just shreds it, right? He sees it before you even play it.
They got no answer. They have yet to figure out a way to defend Rob Gronkowski. That's what causes the Steelers the problems, because they don't have anybody that can go match up with him. Not at the corner, not at the safety position. And if you can't neutralize him, you're going to have a very difficult time beating the Patriots, especially when he's in the offense.
Right. And listen, Chris Hogan is really good. I know he'd been gone for 4 games with a bum shoulder, but he caught 1 ball for 1 yard last night. I don't know how that happened. 5 targets. I don't know.
Xavier Howard.
Oh, except he wasn't on him. He was mostly on Brandon
Well,
Cooks.
he neutralized Cooks at the line of scrimmage because he knows he's a fast guy. And I can't let him get up ahead of steam, so I'm going to put these paws on him at the line of scrimmage, Joe, and slow some of this down. You saw what he did.
He's on the Miami Dolphins bandwagon now.
I'm going
I
to
don't blame him.
I'm going to get him.
pretty
I'm
good.
going to live.
Live, yeah.
Yeah.
your team.
Me and Jim Jackson, we going down there. We're going to
Live?
build them crabs, them stone crabs at Joe's.
My
They're
man
just
Wayne.
like different parts of the beach, but
Lil
What?
Wayne.
Then you got
lives there.
cars?
Yeah.
You know, so I guess.
that's like south of 5th, Joe's Stone Crab.
So I guess Uber couldn't take me there.
Live
Huh?
is all the way up on 40th.
I mean, I go up in Malibu to eat, and then I sometimes eat Beverly
And then you
Hills.
come back down here.
Yeah. And that's how we do
Rob,
Skip.
thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball are now officially professional basketball players.
Oh,
They
my
agreed to
goodness.
1-year contracts with the Lithuanian Basketball League. The signings were confirmed by the Big Baller brand yesterday. 19-year-old LiAngelo and 16-year-old LaMelo will report to the team early in January. Professionals. Shannon, will this work?
I don't think so. And I wish these guys the best. I never wish ill on anybody trying to accomplish their dreams. But I can assure you, when these young men were thinking about being professional basketball players, they didn't think about playing in Europe. My concerns are, Skip, is that what happens when the dad can't control the situation? Because we've seen it on occasions, and we've only known LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball jumped into our medium, into our axiom 6-9 months ago.
Yep.
We saw he couldn't control the situation. He didn't like the situation in Vegas in the AAU game. He pulled his team off the court. He couldn't control the situation. A new coach came in at Chino Hill, said, I don't want your son to shoot 50 times. He took him out of school. He couldn't control the length of the suspension that UCLA had bestowed upon his shoplifting son.
Yeah.
He removed him from the equation.
He did.
So what happens now when he can't control the situation from halfway around the world, Skip? You know what? Do I think this is going to last? My grandfather used to say, boy, this is going to last as long as a tic-tac in the mouth of a whale. How long you think that'll last, Joey? Not very long. That's how long this is going to last over there. Because once he realized he can't control the situation, they don't speak English. The food, Skip, these are not 24, 25-year-olds. You got a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old trying to go cut their teeth against grown men.
Yep.
Me as a professional athlete, when guys came in, rookies, you were first-team All-American, you wasn't the Buckus or the Thorpe or the... I need to see why. I need to see why you got all these accolades.
Yep.
So I'm going to try my best to give it to you.
Yep.
What you think these young men going to do? They look at this like, hold on, dude, you 16. You trying to come out here and LiAngelo, Skip, if he had a problem and he wanted them to go this route, why would he even let Jello sign with UCLA? Why not just go this route from the beginning?
Don't know.
If you didn't think Melo was learning anything or was going to get any better in high school, why not do this before the coach comes in and say he doesn't want him to shoot 50 times a game? That's the problem. I hope it works, Skip. I don't wish ill will on anybody. He wants to be an entrepreneur. He's going about it, build up this big baller brand. But, Skip, I don't see how this works. I don't see how you're seeing two teenagers halfway around the world in a situation you can't control. Because what we've seen from you, Mr. LeVar Ball, the moment you can't control the situation, you will remove you and what is yours, which is your two boys, from said situation. I hope it works. I hope I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, Skip, I have no problem coming on this show and saying I was wrong. But I don't believe I will be.
Nor do I. I will be surprised if these kids last more than 1 week in a village, non-speaking English village, of 10,000 in Lithuania. I want to remind everybody, they're not going to live in London or Paris or Barcelona or Athens or Jerusalem or any metropolis in Europe and play basketball. All those cities have really good basketball teams and leagues. They're in small-town Lithuania, and this team, I don't know how it works, but they play in two leagues, a really good league and a really not-so-good league. So the
varsity and JV?
Yeah, the JV team is in what's called the Baltic League, and they're 4-1 in that league. But recently, there was a game that was tied late at 65, and their coach was ejected, and the game was, quote-unquote, abandoned because the coach was ejected, so they just left it as 65 all tie. I don't even know how that happens, or I guess it was a loss.
Well, LeVar should fit right in.
Yeah.
He should fit right in, because guess what? When they pulled his kids, they just left the game like it was. So he'd be fine over there.
So I have enough respect for LeVar Ball that he always has a plan. He has something up his sleeve, and in this case, I can't see what's up his sleeve. Because if you could have put these kids with a highly publicized spotlight team, let's say in China, again, the middle son has a big issue still hanging over his head in China, so I assume that eliminated the China possibility. But we've seen a lot of sort of fading NBA stars go over to China and do well and become big deals in China. And I could have seen these two kids as a package deal becoming the Ball sons over in China. I could see that. But nobody in Lithuania is going to care. I just
Skip, this is pro sports. This is not high school where if you take my son, or college where if you take my son, you can get him. This is professional. You think the Green Bay, my brother said, you know what, Packer, I'll sign with you, but I got a brother that's 2 years behind me. If y'all don't sign, if you don't tell me you're going to sign him, you can't sign me. That's not how pro sports work, Skip. So here's the plan. If LeVar Ball, if you're going to tell me, if the coach comes in and says, LaMelo, if you can shoot as many times as you want to, would you have still pulled him out? If the UCLA and Steve Alford had not suspended Jello, would you have still pulled him out and put him overseas? Absolutely not. This wasn't his plan. His plan got derailed because he could no longer control the situation. Now, it wasn't his hand-picked high school coach. It wasn't a situation where Jello was going to get preferential treatment because of what Lonzo had done. So the suspension might be 2 months, might be 3 months. It might be for the entirety of the year. LeVar couldn't control that situation. Well, if I can't control the situation, let me get what's mine and put them in a situation I can control. Okay, they took them both. This team, the Baltic League team, they shoot a lot of threes. That's what Melo does. That's what Jello wants to do. But again, Skip, what happens if they're not getting the minutes that LeVar thinks they should? What if they're not playing in the fourth quarter because we know how he feels? Now he really, really can't control because they don't speak English. So you talking your talk, they don't care what you're saying because they don't understand what you're saying. I hope I'm wrong. But I just don't see this working out. And at some point in time, LeVar is going to have to let these kids, because these are kids, let them be. He's trying to make them men before it's their time. There's no reason you take a 16-year-old out of high school and ship him halfway around the world. That's not how it works. I'm not saying this is, it's not, do your kids. But I just don't believe it's the right thing to do to take a 16-year-old out of school. Because, and the only reason you, Skip, if this was his plan all along, I got no problem with it. But I don't believe this was his plan. I believe his plan got foiled because the coach came in and says, he's not shooting 50 times. His plan got foiled at UCLA because they told him, he's going to have to sit down. He's going to serve a suspension. I don't care what the Chinese government did. I'm talking about what UCLA is going to do. And once he could no longer control it, he took his possessions, which were his boys, and he put them in a situation he could control because he said, okay, I'll give you this one if you take that one. But how does this work out in the end?
Great point, and I remind everybody out there, these kids for their birthdays have gotten Lamborghinis for their birthday.
Why the hell are they stealing in China?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know.
Did they steal them Lambos?
No. So they're going to wind up in a little village, remote, and I'm not saying the food is bad. It's just really different than what you knew in Chino Hills. It's really different. And I only know because I covered a Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, in what was then Yugoslavia. And I got to tell you, the hardest thing on me was the food. I didn't love it. And it's all you got. And you can't find anything else. And so these kids are going to say, they're going to be on their cell phone. Does the cell work from over there? I don't know.
The charges, if I go overseas, if I'd have been going overseas, I need Granny to come with me because I need neck bones. I need oxtail. I need cornbread, that blueberry with the blueberries bogged down in the bottom of it. That's what I need. I can't be eating.
That doesn't sound like traditional Lithuanian.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It does not. And these kids are going to be playing with grown men who will not like them. And it's a different style of basketball. Not that they can't learn from it, but it's crafty and it's wily, and they play hard-nosed defense, little gray area defense. It's tough. They could learn a lot if they can tough it out. I just don't think they'll be able to tough it out.
If you look at those big guys that come over there, they grow up playing that style of basketball. They don't get over here and then all of a sudden become fundamentally sound. Dirk Nowitzki was fundamentally sound once he arrived because he had been playing all his life like that. Tony Parker, all his life.
Manu, same way.
And I know a lot of people don't remember, but Sabonis, I believe he's probably one of the best foreign bone, even though he came to Portland, he was well past his prime. Skip, he was skilled. He was fundamentally, he was perfect. Sarunas Marciulionis is another one from that area. It's just hard for me to believe because these kids believe that I don't have to play defense and there's not a bad shot that I could possibly take. So if I step across half court, let it rip. If I'm at the timeline, let it go. So who cares? And I don't know if that, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about that coach. I don't know a whole lot about that league or team. But I think they're probably going to frown upon the kind of shots that these young men are used to taking.
I'm with you. I hope it works, but I doubt it will.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us again same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then. Fox Sports 1 of 1.